Okay, so why is self-esteem important? Self-esteem is a topic that is sometimes taken very lightly. It's like, oh, self-esteem, I've heard that, like, oh, big deal. But it really has a bigger meaning. So throughout this talk, I would like you to think about why self-esteem is really important to you. Self-esteem is confidence in one's own worth or abilities or self-respect. It is important because it affects your lifelong attitude and morals as you grow as an individual. Later in life, you will realize why self-esteem plays a huge factor in adulthood, because your actions and thoughts follow you into the real world as an adult. This chart is a picture of the U.S. youth by sex and age on depression. Females are more prevalent to go through a phase of depression rather than men. Females are 12.4% rather than males, 4.3%, and it also shows the years of 12, 16, and 17, and as you can see, 16 years old, which is normally in our age, go through a major phase of depression due to low self-esteem, which is 11.6%. A statistic on teenagers with high and low self-esteem was taken, and it has been shown that 40% of boys have low self-esteem, while the other 60% have high self-esteem. And as women, girls have 75% of low self-esteem. Think about how big that number is of girls. 75%, while the others have high self-esteem. I would like to introduce the idea of how media affects our self-esteem as children as they grow. In today's society, we have been brainwashed to live the perfect life, the perfect lifestyle, to have the perfect body, to live in a certain house, and so forth. However, things aren't always as perfect as you want them to be. Kids always find the need to compare. Kids always find the need to compare with other kids of who has it better, or mine is better than yours. But as you grow as an individual in life, you realize that it's not really always about that. So my entire life, I have been judged because of my weight, and till this day, it has affected me as how I view myself. And it's a horrible feeling that nobody should really have to go through, all because I didn't live up to a social standard. Okay, that's not showing. Anyway, I was searching for TED Talks. It was a picture of a young lady, and her name is Lizzie Velasquez, and she has a rare disease that is so rare, in fact, it doesn't have a name. So her and 2 other people in the entire world have this disease, and basically it's a disease where she lacks amniotic fluid, so therefore she doesn't gain any weight as much as she eats. So to some people that may sound like, oh yeah, that's so cool, like how cool it must be to not gain weight when you eat so much food. But she has been bullied her whole life throughout her whole life because she is skinny, because she is not like the other kids. So she's 24 years old, 5 feet 2 inches like me, and she weighs 58 pounds. She has never been able to go over the weight of 60 pounds because of her disease. She explains how she has experienced like all types of bullying, and she explains throughout her TED Talk how she explains the perks as well as the downfalls. She engages her audience through humor so that they're not only feeling sympathy for her, but they also try to understand her story. She claims how she can eat all that she wants and never gain a pound because of the lack of amniotic fluid. But she doesn't hesitate to go into detail about the disadvantages that she's faced. Within her high school years, she came across this video online on YouTube, and it labeled her the world's ugliest woman. And it was a video, just images, no sound or anything, and it was just pictures of her. And there was comments saying how she should do the world a favor and go kill herself. How do you think that would make you feel? That's pretty harsh. And as any kid going through high school, when somebody tells you ugly, you're like, oh wow, that really hurt me. She was labeled the world's ugliest woman, and people told her to go kill herself. Think about how that sounds. So you would think that any kid going through that type of stuff would go through depression, but she didn't. She wanted to fight back, but she did not. Instead, she decided to take the high route and show them what she was capable of. She wanted to let her success, her goals, and her accomplishments speak for her rather than what is displayed for all of you guys to see. Velasquez decided to look at life through a different lens and appreciate all the things she did have rather than the things she did not. She wanted to prove them wrong and make something of herself. So the question being raised is, what defines you? How do you look at yourself? Who are you? Because of Lizzie, I've inspired to look at myself in a different perspective and not to allow people to put me down simply because of the way I look, but rather to prove them wrong and to show them what I'm capable of. That was it. Okay. Media also tends to hurt kids emotionally, physically, and psychologically, especially during high school. High school is a really crucial period in your life where you go through a lot of things, and people say that high school is going to be the best 4 years of your life, but in reality, high school is what you make of it. High school is the friends that you make, and everything else here. So, media affects teenagers, and it causes them to form different forms of depression, which include anorexia, anxiety, cutting, vigorexia, or even suicidal thoughts. 121 million people suffer from depression, from some type or form of depression, and 11% of those are adolescents. I would like to go into depth on some of the reasons why teenagers fall into some phases of depression. This includes anything that can make you unhappy, such as school, grades, personal problems, family personal problems, status with peers, or even sexual orientation. Sometimes pressure from certain problems in your life can affect your actions, hence the low self-esteem. I would like to introduce my next TED speaker. Her name is Megan Ramsey, and she explains why thinking you're ugly is not good for you. You shouldn't have to let people's opinions take the best out of you, because you're only going to see these people for 4 years, and you're never going to see them again. Maybe like 1 or 2 of them. Today we live in an image-obsessed culture where 6 out of 10 girls refuse to go to school or classes because they feel they're not good enough. This makes the relationship, development of physical abilities, or even studies suffer because family, friends, or peers are putting them down. 31%, nearly 1 in 3 teens fail to engage in classroom debate because they are afraid that they're going to draw attention to themselves, and 1 in 5 of those kids are not even showing up to school at all. It has been said that teenagers with low body confidence do less physical activities, which put them at a greater risk of depression. So tying into the topic before, I want to clarify the certain measures teens are willing to go through, such as cutting, health problems, and extremities such as suicide. Going through depression and having symptoms for a long period of time can keep you from leading a normal, active life. So hopefully at this point, you yourself or one of your friends notices the stuff that you're going through and offers help, because the best thing to do at this point is to seek medical attention, or to even surround yourself with new friends that actually make you happy, or positive people. People think depression's not serious, but it really is. Some people do seek for attention when they say they're depressed, but in reality, there are some other people that really go through hard times, and it's always best to seek medical help when you're going through these type of things. The last example I plan on bringing in is this TED Talk by a woman named Amy Cuddy. She explains how body language, it affects the way you carry yourself, and it helps your self-development. One of the reasons I decided to bring this into my presentation is because I feel like it can help the depressed. If you carry yourself a certain way, if you lift your head up higher, if you stand up taller, it gives the impression to other people that you are not sad. And if you do that for a long time, it starts to become you, and that's who you end up being. She explains her experience in a car accident and how she woke up in a mental facility ward, and the doctors had told her that she had suffered major brain trauma, and she was withdrawn from college, and that her IQ score has been affected by 2 standard deviations, which is a lot. So some of the doctors told her that it would be pointless to go back to college because she would never make it. But she had this mentor who helped her cope through everything, and she told her to fake it till she made it. To me, it kind of didn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? But she explained how she successfully graduated college, and she faked it, and she faked it to the point where it actually became her. It was like no longer just her faking it, it was actually her. To conclude, I would like to tell you all why self-esteem is so important generally to me and how it has inspired me and what I've learned from it. Self-esteem is important to me because it defines who you are as a person and how you view yourself. It has inspired me to encourage others to feel better about themselves, and because I was once in that same boat that they were in. Lastly, I learned the statistical aspects of low self-esteem and how scary things can get when they are not treated properly, as well as the things that you can do to help it. So to end, I would like to say this quote: self-esteem is the reputation we acquire with ourselves. The reputation that you carry at school is because you want to be that way. If you're known as the girl that, that's like the depressed girl, like nobody messes with her, it's because you carry yourself that way. If you want to be known as the outgoing person who everybody loves and everybody talks to, the popular girl, I guess you could say, fake it. Fake it till you make it, because eventually that person is going to become you. And you're no longer going to be sad, you're no longer going to be depressed because you're happy now. Like, people notice things. When you're down and somebody asks you how you're doing, what's your normal response? I'm fine. I'm fine. Do people really mean that though? Do people really explain what's going on? So that's my